Good morning. Welcome to our solstice celebration. Welcome to the sunny, cloudy morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Providence, where we love beyond belief. This is our very special annual tradition where we move towards the changing of the balance between night and day, the bringing of hope at a time of cold, and the celebration of all that we can do and be together. Let us make the very most of this day, starting right now, together. We have a lot to do figuratively and literally this morning together. So rather than take our usual extensive wandering around time, we're just going to invite everybody to rise as you are able and turn around where you are and wave and call hello to the people near you. Or if you want, far from you. But let's say hi. Hi, everybody in the balcony. And send our friendliest hellos to each other. And then while we're up, before we sit back down, can we wave at the cameras to our right of the organ? Hi, everybody at home. Happy solstice. You've got special things queued up for you this morning while we're doing some of our activities, and we're glad we can be together this way as well.
I invite you to join me in the chalice lighting words found in your order of service. This light burns also in our hearts, and it lights our path toward harmony, justice, and hope for all.
Beth. Here we are, all of us together to honor the ancient traditions that mark the shortest, darkest day in this cold holiday season. This morning we will experience music, story, and craft, some of the legends and sounds and textures and sights and scents of winter solstice. In a few minutes, everyone will sample each of 3 experiences. We will ask that you move as you are able to your location, your first location, in this order.
If you have a 1 on your order of service, it's on the front cover, you will stay right here in the meeting house to learn a song with me and Vicki and Asa. Then, after a few minutes, you will go to the parlors to make clove and clementine pomanders with Reverend Liz and Reverend Roger. And then you will go to the atrium for a story and activity with Mandy.
If you have a 2 on your order of service, please follow me to the atrium for a story and activity together, and then continue around.
And if you have a 3 on your order of service, come join me and Liz in the parlors of our parish house to make our beautiful traditional solstice decorations.
Beth and Mandy and Roger and I will send you on your way when it's time to move to the next solstice experience. And then, and this is important, everyone will regather here to sing the song that Beth has taught us, together, all of us, and for some brief solstice blessings. If you are confused about the plan, just check in with one of us. It is also written in your order of service. So if you look in there, you'll see group 1, that's the people who have 1 on their order of service. Group 2, it tells you where to go in what order. Do you think you raise your hand if you think you at least kind of get it. All right, we should be in good shape. It is. It's 15 minutes for each thing, but that's not on you, that's on us. So feel free to check in with us if you get confused, and do not worry, because walking together, we can all find our way. Can we all now turn back to the order of service to share our covenant together? And as always, folks who are not currently members of the church, perhaps not yet members of the church, should feel very free to say this along with everyone else, or not, no pressure. We the members of the First Unitarian Church of Providence, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with one All Beautiful, the March of Days in the gray hymnal. Can we rise in body or spirit? Sing out as we are able. So after Joys and Sorrows, we'll ask everybody to file gently out if you're leaving. If you are not one of the people who's staying to learn the song, ask you to go out, and we'll have people turn right to go into the parlors for the activity with me and Roger. And if you're going straight through to the story with Mandy, you'll continue straight down the hall and go into the atrium. And then we'll flow around from there and ask everybody to keep to the right when you're walking in a hallway, your right in whatever direction you're going, and that will help us make sure that people can move through the halls easily at the same time. We'll do that right after Joys and Sorrows.
And now for those joys and sorrows that connect us in beloved community. From Colin Broad, A Candle of Joy, for the first day of the holiday of Saturnella today, and for my 10th wedding anniversary this week. Also, a candle of remembrance for the passing of my grandmother, Helen Dixon, 13 years ago today. She was a longtime member of the Unitarian Church in Woonsocket. From Dwight Ernest, a candle of sorrow and hope. Sorrow for the people of Gaza and Israel and their suffering. Jason Molino offers a candle of love for my mother, Mary Lennon, for her birthday this past week. You see, she is no longer with us, but lives on in the laughter of her grandchildren and her recipes that I cook. I love you, Mom. Cindy Baptiste and George Bashir's light a candle of joy for the flat-coated retriever puppy member that became part of their family this week. A candle of remembrance from George McCann for Grandpa Bob McCann, who passed away 2 years ago tomorrow. From the LGBTQ program team, wishing Dr. Stephen McCloy a very happy 80th birthday. A candle of thanksgiving for Tony Allen, who went over the bridge and through the streets of Pawtucket to deliver the bread for tomorrow's food share. Thank you, Tony. The words of Yoko Ono for today: think peace, act peace, spread peace, imagine peace. Thus endeth the joys and sorrows. Amen.
Okay, group 3 with us. Group 2 with Mandy. Off we go.
I'm going to ask you to leave these here so the next group can use them, obviously. Here you go. So this is called George Fox Song. And George Fox is the founder of the Quakers. Did you know that? Neither did I. But I do now. And George Fox was British, and he lived in the 1600s. And he was a Christian. don't? You all have it? Everybody have music that wants it? Cool. So I have a picture of George Fox. It's very small, but it's important that you know that he has long hair because we're going to sing about his shaggy, shaggy locks. And that's what we're referring to as George Fox's hair. He was a British rabble-rouser, actually, because he didn't like everything about the Christian faith, and so he changed it, and he spoke, and he was a very charismatic speaker, and he kind of formed a sect. Want music? He formed a sect which continued and eventually was called the Quakers. Just one? And he eventually traveled to the United States and started the same sect here. And they're still called the Quakers, right? So what he didn't like was this notion that truth was contained in a book, specifically the Bible. He didn't have anything against the Bible, but he didn't consider it the same thing as truth. And so he wanted to follow the concept of truth, and he was also a pacifist. And that will show up in the lyrics to the song. If you know the song, Lord of the Dance, this will sound real familiar. If you don't know that, but you know the song Simple Gifts, there's a lot of similarity in all three of those songs. So Asa and Vicki are going to play. I'm going to sing. Anybody else who knows the song or is willing to sing with me, please don't wait. Just join right in. We're going to sing the first verse twice so that you get used to it, and then we'll start adding the other verses, okay? And if you are one of those people who likes to harmonize everything in sight, just go for it. Nobody's going to stop. Okay. There's a light that is shining in the world, and the light is the light that was shining in the world. There's a light that is shining in the darkness. There's a light that is shining right in me and in you. Walk in the light wherever you may be. Walk in the light wherever you may be. All the riches and the shaggy, shaggy locks, I am walking in the glory of the light. Anybody need music now? Don't have it? All right, I've got a little bit more. That's a lot of words, but it's not a hard song, and you are going to be so good at this by the end of the day. I'm going to be amazing at it because I'm just doing it over. That's all you need? Anybody else? Okay, first verse again. You all know Asa. And you all know Vicki, right? We love them. Ready? 1, 2, 3. First verse. There's a light that is shining in our world. It's the light that was shining when the world began. There's a light that is shining in the darkness. There's a light that is shining right in me and in you. Walk in the light wherever you may be. Walk in the light wherever you may be. All the riches and the shaggy, shaggy locks, I am walking in the glory of the light set us. Don't you just love the shaggy, shaggy locks part? That's my favorite part. Let's do the chorus. Walk in the light. One more time, everybody. 2, 3, 4. Walk in the light wherever you may be. Walk in the light wherever you may be. All the riches and the shaggy, shaggy locks, I am walking in the glory of the light set us. All right, you ready to sing it all the way through now? All 4 verses, starting with the first verse and one right after the other. 1, 2, 3. First verse. walk in the light wherever you may be. You say that twice, so that's half right there. Walk in the light wherever you may be. Walk in the light wherever you may be. Got it? Okay. Now comes the britches and the hair part, which I love. With my old leather britches and my shaggy, shaggy locks. If you just look down once and then look up, you can do that line too, right? And then I'm walking in the glory of the light. This is solstice. We're going to be walking in the glory of the light on the 22nd, right? That's when the light comes right back. I am walking in the glory of the light, said Fox. Is Ginny here? Ginny Fox. Is she here? I think she's here this morning. This is her son. No, it's not. I'm just kidding. All right, so let's sing the first verse again. And then when we get to the chorus, everybody put your paper down and look up, okay? You can do that. It's something we should do in church more often. First verse with the intro. There's a light that is shining in the world. It's a light that is shining in the world. There's a light that is shining in the terror and the truth. There's a light that is shining in the need and pain. Stop. Walk in the light. Wherever you may be. Again. Walk in the light. Stop. With my old leather britches. My shaggy, shaggy locks. I am walking in the glory of the light. Said Fox. That's great. Now you're singing. If you're willing and able. And we're just going to do the chorus. Put your papers down. You've got me. I'm going to help you. There's a light. I mean, walk in the light. Walk in the light wherever you may be. 1, 2, 3, go. Walk in the light wherever you may be. Again. Walk in the light wherever you may be. I'm holding the bridges. Shaggy, shaggy locks. I am walking in the glory of the light. Said Fox. See, you've already got it memorized. Excellent. All right, have a seat. Is anybody keeping track of time? Because I'm not. I mean, has it been 15 minutes? I'm supposed to send you out. No, it hasn't. Not even close, right? I don't know. An intense 3-day debate with Roger Williams here. Roger Williams hated him. Why? Because he had shaggy, shaggy locks. Maybe it was the britches. It was the Quakerness, yeah. There's a place where this article talks about his trip to the United States. I was just, well, I don't know why Roger Williams hated him, but it's breaking my heart. He was a magnetic personality. This could be the problem. He was widely respected and admired by such men as William Penn, who left in writing an appreciation of thoughts that is still the best of his character. So look up what William Penn said. And don't forget this song. I want you to sing it before dinner tonight. And I need your song sheets back. Please bring them to me.
Welcome back to We Be Kids again. In a previous story that I told called The Rich Fool, it ended with the line, forget about getting and instead learn to give. But some people are often perplexed with the idea of giving. What if we don't have a lot of material things that we can share? This story is called The Warm Fuzzies, and it's written by Wayne Dossick, found in a book called The Golden Rules. And it's a story about how we can give from our hearts. So if you jump into a little rowing boat and you row and row and row and head north follow the stars and let the current take you. It will wash you up on the shores of a beautiful island, an island that is filled with thick, lush, green vegetation. It is ringed by golden sands and beautiful blue sea. And on this island, there are lots and lots of creatures living there, but there are people as well, but not people like you and me. The people that live on this island are very, very small. There are fairies, and there are elves, and there are gnomes, and there are tree elves. But there are also a little kingdom of small people that live in the middle of the island, and they keep all the island in good spirits. Now, these little people, they carry around little bags with them, just like this one. Each person has a bag, and inside the bag, when they open it, it is filled with warm fuzzies. Now, you may or may not have heard of warm fuzzies. If you lived on the island, you most definitely would have. But let me tell you a little bit about warm fuzzies. You see, when people carry them around, they're always looking for others to give them to. And if you receive a warm fuzzy from somebody else, that means that they wish you well and that you are loved. Also, when you give a warm fuzzy, it makes the giver feel really cheery as well. So the little people who lived on this island, they would hurry around every day and they would hand out warm fuzzies to each other to let them know that they are cared for and that they are loved. And it was a wonderful place to live. Everybody was very, very happy and joyful and loved. Now, another important thing about warm fuzzies as well is that whenever people would give them away, magically, another one would reappear in the bag, meaning that the warm fuzzies were always in the bag. It was always full. Now, as well as the little people that lived on the island, just outside of their kingdom was a big, deep, dark, wet cave. And in that cave lived a troll. Now, that troll wasn't very happy. He didn't really like living on his own out in the cave. But he also thought that warm fuzzies were silly. He thought they were a load of nonsense. He would say, silly warm fuzzies. I don't need warm fuzzies in my cave. But one day he was wandering around and he was on the edge of the kingdom, and one of the small people saw him. And he ran over and said, hey, little troll, we don't see you very much around here. Let me give you a warm fuzzy and know that you're cared for and you are loved. The troll thought, silly warm fuzzies. I don't need those warm fuzzies. But he didn't say that to the little person. Instead, he reached down and he put his arm around the little person. And like a friend, he began to whisper in his ear. And the troll said, you know, those warm fuzzies that you have. The little person said, yes, 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 we love warm fuzzies, we love them. Well, said the troll, if you keep giving them away, you're going to run out. And the little person looked at the troll with worry in his eyes. Run out? What do you mean, run out? Yeah. There'll be no warm fuzzies for you. There'll be no warm fuzzies for everybody. Don't just keep giving them away. Keep them for yourself. With this, the little person ran off and the troll went off on his own way too. Now, the little person was really, really worried about this. Can you imagine a kingdom with no warm fuzzies? So he ran back to the kingdom and he started to tell everybody. He said, did you know that if you keep giving your warm fuzzies away, they will run out? And the word spread. And after a while, the way that people thought about warm fuzzies changed. You see, everyone was afraid that their warm fuzzies would run out, so they kept them safe to themselves. They didn't want to give them away. They would often go around and instead of handing them, they would hold them under their arm. Now, occasionally they would give them away, but only on very, 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 very special occasions, like birthdays, for example. And all the other time, they would be kept there under their arm. And after a while, they started getting heavy under their arm. So they started to wear them over their shoulders. And the little people would go around with them. But as people held on to their warm fuzzies, the kingdom started to change. There wasn't as much joy and as much happiness, and people didn't feel cared for and loved. And the weight of the warm fuzzies started to weigh the little people down. Oh, not only did they feel sad and unloved, but they also began to feel sick too. Now, word of this got to the troll. And the troll was a little bit upset. You see, he just wanted to see what would happen if he changed the opinion on warm fuzzies. He didn't want them to get ill. So he thought what he could do to help. And in his cave, he had a huge store of something called cold prickles. Now, nobody had wanted cold prickles in the past, but the troll had stored them all up. He thought, this is something that I can give. So he went to the kingdom and he carried a big truckload of cold prickles, and he said to the little people, I know you're looking after your warm fuzzies, but here are a load of cold prickles. Grab them and take them and hand them out to each other, said the troll. So the little people started to take the cold prickles and they started to hand them to each other. But there was something very, very different between cold prickles and warm fuzzies. You see, when people received a warm fuzzy, they would say, wow, and their heart would beam. But when they handed cold prickles, people just looked at them and said, "Ugh," and their heart shrank. And this went on for a while, people handing out cold prickles to each other. But after a long, long time of the kingdom being in sadness, one of the wise elders called a gathering of all the little people, and he brought them round in a big circle, and he began to explain. He said, you know, this kingdom hasn't always been like this. There was a time when people used to hand out their warm fuzzies for free, without any thought about holding on to them. There were no cold prickles. People were happy and joyful and loved. Wouldn't it be great to get back to a time like that? And everybody agreed. Yes, they said it would be great. And then somebody stood up and said, but we can't give our warm fuzzies away. If we give them away, there will be none left. And the elder said, but holding them in your bags isn't helping anybody. The warm fuzzies are supposed to be shared. They're supposed to bring joy. Sat in your bags, they're not doing any good for anyone. Let's share our warm fuzzies. And all the little people said, yay, let's share our warm fuzzies. And off they went. And one by one they opened their bags and reached in, and they began to share warm fuzzies around with each other. And with every warm fuzzy that was shared, a sense of love and care spread around the kingdom. And the troll was forgotten about. He was left out there with his cold prickles. But over time, love returned to the kingdom, and warm fuzzies were once again abundant. So I hope you enjoyed that story. It is a story of warm fuzzies, and it's a story of letting people know that they are cared for and that they are loved.
Hey guys, good afternoon. It's Callie. Today I'm going to show you how I used an orange and some cloves to make these beautiful, beautiful orange pomander balls. These are perfect for the holiday season. I like to make them to celebrate the winter solstice and the return of the sun. The orange and the cloves and the cinnamon all represent fire and warmth, and the days are getting longer, and this brings all this back into your home. They smell amazing. They're super simple to make. You can do these with your kids or your grandkids, and this is a craft that I used to do with my mom and my sister, I think my grandma too. So if you just stick around, I will show you how I created some of these with some really simple ingredients, and you will dry these out and have them for years to come. You can use them in your drawers to freshen your clothes. They repel bugs and moths, and again, they just smell amazing. You can hang them on your tree or just around the home. I'm sure you're going to have as much fun making this as I did. So stick around and I'll show you how I do it. Okay guys, I'm going to show you what we're going to use today. I used some California navel oranges. The thicker the skin, the better with these. Much easier to carve, but use whatever you have on hand. I've also seen these done with lemons, but I chose to use oranges. You're going to use some whole cloves, also ground cloves, as well as allspice, nutmeg, ground cinnamon, and I also chose to use some essential oil. So I used cinnamon bark essential oil. We're going to use various assorted ribbons if you choose to hang your ball, and you could do the colors of your choice. I chose red and orange for the sun associations, as well as green. You could do whatever you want, colors for the holiday season. You'll use some straight pins. You can use big heads, you could use the little flat ones if you want them to be inconspicuous. A small paring knife. Use the edge of this peeler. You could also use a lemon channel knife, which will cut uniform ridges if you want. I did not have one of those, so I made do with what I have. Pair of scissors to cut your ribbon. And then if you choose to hang these like on your tree, or if you want to use something besides the ribbon, you can use jute twine or wire. And if you choose to use those, then you're going to need a long needle to get through your orange. So those are all the supplies that I used. And you're also going to need a paper bag. So I'll be right back and we'll get started. Okay guys, we're going to get started. And first I'm going to show you how to do one with a ribbon. And these are all different and all unique, and you can do them however you want. So I'm just going to show you a couple different examples. Here's one with a green ribbon with just the flat head straight pins used. It's pretty inconspicuous. Here's a wider ribbon that goes all the way around. Again, that I used with the flat head straight pins. Little bow on top. You can hang this from your tree. You could hang it, I have it hanging on the inside of my door when you come in my front door. Here's another one. Okay, so really just your imagination is your only limit here. But I'm going to show you just the basic one, how to get started. We're going to take our orange, and I told you I like to use the cinnamon oil, so I'm just going to take a little bit. Cinnamon is associated with the sun and with fire, and it's good for love and passion and healing and all good things. So I'm just going to rub it on. It'll also help to preserve the orange as well as smell amazing. Now, little goes a long, long way. I'm just going to rub it in, and as I'm rubbing it in, I'm thinking good thoughts and good intentions for a good year and happiness and love for my family. So please be very, very careful with cinnamon oil not to touch your eyes or any delicate areas. Let me just say that. It is extremely, extremely irritating to your skin, and it will burn and hurt and sting. So be very careful to wash your hands carefully. You can skip this part if you don't want to, but I like to put the cinnamon oil first. And again, while I'm, making the whole ornament, I'm thinking good intentions. So we're just going to take, I can't tell you how long to measure it. This is maybe 20 inches or so. I'm going to loop it, and then, you have a top and a bottom of your orange, and we're just going to kind of saddle it here and hold it taut. Now again, when your orange is dry, they will shrink, so that's to be expected. I'm going to use these bigger pins now, and you're just going to place them in. You can put them as close as you like. You could actually make a design with your pins if you want to. I'm just going to keep this real simple here. I should have alternated green and red, but I did not. So these get addicting when you're making them. So, oh, there you go. I guess that green wanted to be there. So you're going to continue all the way around, and then when you get to the top, if you will, to do a nice neat crisscross, I like to put it down. I hope you're seeing this okay. And then turn the ribbon like this. Actually, you know what? I'll pin it there. Just kind of, can you see how I folded that over? Right, and again, I'm going to lift up my pin and use that to go through both sides there. Whoop, she says, and she doesn't do it. There we go. And then you just continue all the way around. So here, you know what? This side I'll do green. And that's it. So we're going to do this all the way around on all sides. Okay, and when you get to the top, same thing. You'll pin it. Okay. And then you can either tie a bow right here, or I like to give it a little hanging room and then just tie a simple bow right up here. Like that. Okay? So again, you can see, like, how I did it here. Here's a better example of the bottom, how I turned it and pinned it. Okay? And again, with the red. So once you have that done, then it's time to put your cloves in. And I thought an interesting fact, the French word for nail is clove. And at first, when I started doing this, I went into the holes with a nail first to make my holes. And then I decided it was a waste of time because you can just push the clove right in. So decide on the pattern you want to make. And at first I started looking for the cloves with the little balls on top because I thought it looked so pretty. See how the actual little seed is here? But they keep falling off and you'll make yourself crazy. But feel free to make yourself crazy if you'd like, trying to keep them all intact. But I just like to kind of follow the contours of the ribbon, and you're just pushing these cloves in. And again, as you're doing it, you're thinking good thoughts, you're thinking love and happiness and prosperity for the home, the warmth of the returning sun. The days are getting longer, even though it's cold outside, all these good things. So you can do the patterns of your choice, you guys. This gets really addicting, like I said. And, this is an example. That's all I did here. I just followed the contours of the ribbon, okay? This one, I actually filled in. I went back and I filled in And these look a little dusty because they have powdered cinnamon on them. I filled in all the areas. This one, you can see that I just took a pencil and lightly drew a spiral, double spiral pattern and followed that around. You could do diamonds. Take a look on Pinterest. There's a million pictures. People have amazing ideas. Like I said, that lemon channel knife. You know what? So that's how you do it with the ribbon. And then I showed you, or I will show you, a couple that I did without the ribbon. And I'm just going to display these in a bowl. I started at the top and just spiraled down. Again, if you want, you can use a light paring knife as a guide. You could use a pencil if you kind of dig in deep. Try not to get through to the flesh, the actual juice of the orange. Try to stay in the skin. That's why it's better with a thicker skinned orange. But it's easy to transfer a design. And even if you want to do that lightly with a knife or a pencil, and then just put some powdered cinnamon on top of it, that will bring out the design and be easier for you to follow that way. But there's no right or wrong here. Of course, I had to do a pentacle for the season. And this one, I was intrigued by the pictures that I had seen using the lemon channel knife. And all I did for this guy was I took that paring knife. First, you can actually use the side of a peeler if you want, like to go in at an angle, kind of. But I had a hard time controlling any, look at that. It just kind of, I wasn't happy with it. You need that channel knife tool. So then I thought, well, you know what? Because I wanted to do this spiral one, and so all I did was I took a paring knife and I started at the top and I just went around, and be very careful. Again, if you're doing this with children, obviously this part you're going to supervise, but I just dragged it around in a spiral, around and around, and filled in. Like I said, you guys can probably see these lines here, but if you can't, you can rub powdered cinnamon on this and it will show up. And then you just poke your cloves right in the holes in the line that you made, all the way around. And these aren't quick, it really forces you to take time and care, and you're thinking about family and friends, and they're just wonderful. It's a great way to spend time. You can just be even watching a movie or listening to music for the season or whatever. But anyway, so I did that, and then I cut a identical line on the other side of this spiral, okay, all the way around, just like I started, and then I kind of lifted the peel out. So that gave me these channels that I just filled in. Does that make sense? So I kind of, I did the spiral, and then I did another cut right next to it, right? And then carefully went and just lifted this peel here. So it left the pith, the white part underneath, but it took the skin off. So once I had a channel like that, and again, you could do any design that you want, then I just went back and put the cloves in and filled them up, So once you get all that, and if you don't want to use a ribbon or do a ball, you can take a big long needle, all right, and either tie wire, use wire through it. This is so if you want to like attach one of these to a pump, a Christmas tree or something, and then just again be careful, but go right through the orange. And hopefully you have a real long needle. I happen to have a real long needle, and then you just pull it through, and you can cut it off and knot it on the end and use these to tie around. So that's also an option if you'd like. Okay, so once you have all that done, then you're going to take a brown paper bag or a box, shoe box, and put all your completed beautiful oranges together. Don't worry about the ribbons getting dirty or anything. The cinnamon will brush off. And you're going to put them into a box or a bag, probably for about a week. And I like to pat them and make a mixture of spices, okay? Like approximate. I don't really measure, but I want to say like a tablespoon of everything. So a tablespoon of ground cinnamon, a tablespoon of ground cloves, a tablespoon of nutmeg, a tablespoon of allspice. And if you have orris root too, you can use that. And cover them really well. And the cinnamon oil will help them to stick, but even the citrus oil and the oranges, right? So cover them, put them in the bag, leave them undisturbed for about a week. And let me tell you guys, these things last for years. They will shrink up a little bit, but you will have them for years to come. And if you do, you know, a couple each year, you'll have a nice collection. They're beautiful to display. They make amazing gifts. And I hope this inspires you to make some of your own. If you do, please share with me. And I would love to see what you came up with. And I'm sending you guys many, many blessings for a wonderful, wonderful holiday season. And I will talk to you very soon. Have a beautiful day. Take care.
Denouncing
song together. There's lots of you, so it should sound amazing. And we've been passing out the song sheets. There's not enough for everybody, so please share. And you all have the chorus memorized, right? So even if you don't have a song sheet, you can do that. All 4 verses, please, right now. There's a light that is shining in the wall, and that is the light that is standing in the light. There's a light that is shining in the Turk and the Jew. There's a light that is shining, friend, in me and in you. Walk in the light wherever you may be. Walk in the light wherever you may be. In my old leather breeches and my shiny, shiny locks, I am walking in the glory of the light set fires. With a book and a steeple and a bell and a key, they are blinded forever, but they can't set me. Oh, the book in the parish and the steeple will fall, but the light will be shining at the end of it all. God, walk in the light wherever you may be. Walk in the light wherever you may be. In my old leather breeches and my shaggy, shaggy locks, I am walking in the glory of the light set fire. Third verse. If we give you a pistol, will you fight for the Lord? For you can kill the devil with a gun or a sword. Will you swear on the Bible, I will not set me? For the truth is more holy than the book to me. God, walk in the light wherever you may be. Walk in the light wherever you may be. My old leather breeches and my shaggy, shaggy locks, I am walking in the glory of the light set. Fourth verse. There's an ocean of darkness and I drown in the night till I get through the darkness to the ocean of light. You can lock me in prison, but the light will be free, and I'll walk in the glory of the light set. Last time. Walk in the light wherever you may be. Walk in the light wherever you may be. In my old leather breeches and my shaggy, shaggy locks, I am walking in the glory of the light set. Thank you.
Nice job. Everybody learning it in groups and then coming together to share it together. That worked so well. Yes, every week, every hymn will be just like that. It's the time for our offering. We have a really special song to share with you this morning. I'm so excited to hear it in this space. And we have so much still left to do, so let me say no more, except please do give as generously as you are able now as we are entering the season and time of giving. And thank you so much for all that you give and all that you do and all that you are. Among the many ways to practice our faith, in the time ahead, we hope you will all join us for our Christmas Eve celebrations next Sunday at 10 a.m. Reverend Roger is hosting a fireside gathering in the parish house in the parlor. There will be coffee and some snacks and an opportunity for informal fellowship around the fire as a quiet way to enjoy Sunday morning on Christmas Eve. At 5 p.m., our Christmas Eve service for all ages will feature our pickup pageant and lots of singing and candle lighting. And this is your chance to be a shepherd or an angel or, of course, a sheep. Also, our new Christmas choir will make its debut. Our 9 p.m. service is our traditional lessons and carol service with readings, music by the choir, singing, and candle lighting. Don't miss the opportunity to share Christmas Eve with your First U family, and feel free, of course, to bring your friends and family with you. The Green Team wants you to know about a Climate Future Film Festival they are hosting on Sunday, January 7th after worship, because that's what we do now at this church. We host film festivals. I know, it's so great. Green Team, so awesome. This 2-hour festival of 10 short films explores the full range of human and artistic responses to climate change, and snacks and drinks will be provided. And the church office is closed December 25th to January 1st. There is worship on Sunday, December 31st at 10:30 in the morning. Reverend Johanna Murphy will be speaking on her journey moving from grief to justice. But the office will be closed, so you can send email, but nobody will get it until the new year. Our story has been told. Our hands still smell like citrus and spice, don't they? Like life amidst the cold. We have remembered the songs of this season and lifted them up with our voices, all to celebrate the last, longest night, the rebirth of light, the return of the sun, the promise of new life, months from now, to remember that life and light return always and bring with them hope and the lifting of our souls. Thanks be for the evergreen, for love, for firelight and sunlight and moonlight and candlelight, all the ways our world shines even now, and that we are alive to know light and life and love and each other. Blessed solstice. Can we join in the words for extinguishing our chalice? We carry the flame of peace and love and hope until we meet again. Go in peace.